Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
hello. I didn't see you there, fanlings. Welcome. I was reading a book. I didn't know we were streaming today, I guess.
I didn't know you could
My
read.
wife. Oh, boy. Well, welcome to our little Game of Zones watch party. We really appreciate you guys taking some time out of your really busy days to squeeze a little time in for some Game of Zones watching. First, I guess we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves and our background, and we'll answer some of the burning questions, and then we'll dive into some content. Craig,
We'll get in the zone. So I'm Craig. I'm the younger brother.
and I'm Adam, and I'm the youngest brother. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
not
I'm
true.
older than
Adam's-
Craig. I'm older than Craig.
Yeah.
I'm pretty old.
We've been asked if we're twins, but we're 6 years apart.
I
We
have better
both
hair.
created Game of Zones 6 years ago. What's it?
Yeah, we started in 2014, and Game of Zones is a weird cartoon because it started off as just like a stupid little mashup that we made, and then it got really popular, and we kept making more, and then it just became a series. We like evolved it into a series, and that's a lot of its weird evolution is why nothing makes sense in the universe.
Yeah, so it was originally supposed to just be like a pseudo trailer for like a show called Game of Zones. And we were going to show little vignettes from around the world in our universe. It was actually originally supposed to be about the NFL. And we changed that because it was the NBA finals were coming up. So we made it about the NBA. And
The NBA finals were coming up, and we were yeah. Sorry, Craig. Sorry, guys. We have a delay. We've also never used the internet before. So, like, when we animate, we don't even use computers. We just stand back and we just tell people, we say, make his head move, make his arm move. So this is our first time on a computer. And so, that explains some of the technical difficulties. We don't know much about the streaming culture. So pardon our rawness.
Yeah, we're millennials. We're not Gen Z, so we're really not with it. But I will tell you this: before I started working with Adam, Adam had made 2 videos out of his apartment. That one was Sports Friends. It was actually called Basketball Friends at the time. And another one was called Game of Cones, and it was about ice cream.
And another one. And another one was a movie called Shawshank Redemption, which
that's not true. That's Adam's lying. So we're just going to show you the 2 clips from those cartoons that we sort of what Game of Zones was born from. So first we'll show you Game of Cones, which is an ice cream version of. Sorry, Adam. What?
Yeah, I know. I was just saying, this is like Game of Zones' mom and dad. You might think that Game of Zones' mom and dad is the NBA and Game of Thrones, but actually it's Game of Cones and Basketball Friends. They came together like the children of the forest in Game of Thrones, and they brought us this wonderful world.
Okay, why don't we show a little clip of Game of Cones now? Roll the tapes.
Oh, my sweet summer treat, what do you know about fear? Fear is in the winter, when it's so cold the freezer burns. It is in that darkness
Ice cream wall.
that the Dippin' Dots came for the first time. Is it true that he saw a Dippin' Dots?
I don't know what he saw.
The
but I know
bananas
that
are
he's
horses
nuts.
in this world.
Are you saying he's crazy?
Afraid not, son. I'm saying he was pistachio.
There's been disturbing reports.
What kind of reports?
Fruity, creamy ones.
I think you get the idea.
We've been capturing Froyo
We can
more and more every month. They're fleeing
So this is about a 2 hours.
There's a war coming, Ned. I don't know when,
We can
I don't
pause
know
it.
who will be fighting.
No, people are enjoying it. Oh, they were enjoying it.
Oh, are they? All
Um,
right, we can continue, but
I mean, I was
you
enjoying
can
it.
see the influence there for
Yeah.
Game of Zones, before we had mashed up Game of Thrones with basketball, Adam had mashed up Game of Thrones with ice cream because he liked ice cream a lot.
Yeah, basically, and the way I came up with that idea was, I was like, what doesn't exist right now that needs to exist? Like, I really want to do something to make the world a better place. And so I spent a week, or maybe more than that, probably 3 weeks, making ice cream cones Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So if you want to watch the rest of it, you can just search it on YouTube. I don't know, it's somewhere out there. The other thing that was let's call this the father of Game of Zones was Sports Friends. And we have a clip for you from Basketball Friends, which is a sub-brand of Sports Friends. Adam, you want to explain a little bit?
Yeah, so Sports Friends was a show that we did for 2 seasons on Yahoo Screen. Rest in peace, Yahoo Screen. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if Yahoo does either. But it ran for 2 seasons there. And before that, it was a thing called, it first was Baseball Friends, which was just Chase Utley and Ryan Howard talking about how much they love hitting home runs. And you can check that out on YouTube or Mutsack.com. And then after a couple of Baseball Friends, I made a Basketball Friends with LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and it was when he had just signed with the Heat, and so that gives you a sense of when it was. And those were the samples that went on to become the show Sports Friends. So this is the original Sports Friends, Basketball Friends, and our first foray into basketball animated content. Roll it, folks.
He's a great guy. In fact, I like our whole team. Everyone's really cool.
Everyone.
Hi, the heat is on. The heat is on in Miami.
The heat is
Am I right?
on. We're dunking. Slam dunks.
Slam dunks.
Nice.
Woo. No.
Stop it. You're fine.
He puts me in a bad mood. That instantly puts me in a bad mood, LeBron. He's a great guy. In fact, I like our whole team. Everyone's really
so
cool.
That's a little
all right. Okay. I think.
Basically.
Right, sorry, Craig. I want to say this. So it seems like we're getting some feedback from the booth that a lot of people want to know why Game of Zones is ending. So why don't we talk about that? I'm sure that's something we'll have to address a lot. We're going to cover this and then we'll get into the episodes. And then because I feel like that's a hot topic. So. There's a few reasons, but I think the main reason, one thing that a lot of people think, Bleacher Report canceled Game of Zones, and that's not true. Bleacher Report certainly would want more Game of Zones, like they love it and we love it, and there's nothing there. It's more that Craig and I at this point have done about now it's our 7th season, and it takes we take these things incredibly seriously, and they take a long time to make.
We've written about 50,000 medieval basketball jokes at this point.
Right. Yeah. And it's just that we want to try something different. And now that Game of Thrones is done. And also I think that there's a lot of things go on too long. A lot of shows go on too long. And we didn't want to be a show that became an old joke. We wanted to make something that was really good and fun, and then find a nice way to end it. Then when it felt appropriate, so it wasn't just going on too long. And this felt like the time for us. Now, that being said, there might be some Game of Zones in the future, but for now, we want to try some other projects. Anyway, I hope that answer served to satisfy many of your knowledge cravings. Let's jump into the episodes now, and just to give you a quick heads up before these episodes start. This is the first season. We're going to watch the very early Game of Zones, and some things that are really interesting to look for is look how the heads changed, the style changed, and notice how different it is when it started to what it is now.
The early episodes were much more literal. Like, we took Game of Thrones scenes and just did them as straightforward as Game of Zones scenes. As the seasons go on, we kind of diverged from Game of Thrones a little bit more and developed our own lore. And, some people are upset about that. But at the end of the day, you'll see, we run into a lot of problems, logic problems in terms of matching characters up. We have several Jon Snows by episode 3, and So okay. Anyway, we'll start showing the episodes and we'll
let's start playing it because people have seen it. People have seen it, so we can talk over it. There's a lot of really good questions coming in, and so I want to answer the questions. And I feel like if you really want to watch these and hear them and everything like that, you can watch them all on YouTube. But I think what's special about this is that you have us here to talk you through it and answer questions. Here it is.
Okay, so you can see here there's no background artwork. That's because we didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, and just so you know, back when we did these seasons, we were doing it all by ourselves. We had one friend of mine, Pat Keegan, shout out Pat Keegan, who did the storyboards. But Craig and I did everything for these early episodes. So that's why they're so simple. That's why the characters barely move. The voices wrote it. We edited it. We animated it. Everything. So, and we really don't know what we're doing. So, kind of a miracle we made this.
Wow, it's amazing how much has changed in the NBA since this episode came out.
Yeah, and so by the way,
before Steph Curry had done anything.
So Derek Rose here was our original brand. We've had a few of every character. And a lot of people thought that Derek Rose was Mario Chalmers. And so that made me really sad. And that's why the heads got much more detailed, is because I was like, I'm never going to have a likeness issue again. I'm going to get really, really detailed heads. And that was the genesis of that, with Derek Rose, Mario Chalmers mix-up of 2014.
Yeah. The scene before, the Frey scene, was actually really supposed to be the Bucks. But then we did it about the Lakers because they get more views.
So there's a couple questions. One is someone says that Stefano says, "Hey guys, I had Matt Hill as a professor at UCLA
this year.
How'd you guys meet him and start working with him?" Yeah, let's pause it for 1 second. So Matt Hill is our writer. We've had a couple writers in our time, and Matt Hill's been one of them, and he has been awesome. He's really great. We love meeting with Matt, and he has a podcast called My Favorite Basketball Podcast. You should definitely check it out. And Matt Hill is an economics professor at UCLA. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's important because economics plays a big role in our.
Also, shout out Dan Moore, who was our other writer, and he was on last season. He was great. So anyway, and then we also utilize a ton of writers from Bleacher Report. So one of the nice things about being at Bleacher Report is that we know basketball like fans, but we're not experts. We always run the episodes by everyone we can at Bleacher Report, who is an NBA person So like, for example, if we're doing a Celtics episode, we talk to Celtics fans. If we're doing a Bucks episode, we talk to Bucks fans. We're checking out the Bucks and all that stuff. So like there's a lot of writers that are more like they're not writers, but they give us feedback and they help check our stuff and give us good fun facts. Anyway, let's keep going. While this is playing, Uni Eyebrow Wits. I remember that. Here we see the Mario Chalmers.
So this is our second Brand scene. And Brand being, Derek Rose being Brand was very popular in the first episode. And we managed to find another scene that worked with the Bulls. But, then we had Rondo as Jon Snow, and that was kind of a weird choice.
Fun Easter egg there on that tree that went back you saw before there. That was actually Tree Rollins. So if you notice carefully, you can see that tree is actually
Hawks
Tree
fan.
Rollins.
I
have a question, Craig. Do you want me to do a question?
Sure.
No. Oh, sounds like he doesn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So someone says, will the coronavirus disrupt the release schedule for the final season? And that question was from Malk M. Thanks, Malcolm. So the answer is no. We are on track. It's coming out on April 30th, this Thursday. And one of the reasons that it's on track is we have an incredible production manager. His name's Chris Wallinger. And he kind of anticipated this all happening and helped us get set. And we got all the animators remote. And so we're on schedule. We're good to go.
Like to have me a little one.
We got another question. How do we get the voices? Adam and I do every single voice in Game of Zones. We have like a bunch of accents that we are able to do, and then we just modulate our voice so it's like pitched lower. So like, for example, I'm Kyle Lowry. So is that what's going on there? I don't. I want to play some basketball. It's not. I don't know what to say.
And I am James Harden. And I am James Harden, who has slowly. He started off as Prince Oberyn, but then he became more like Triumph the Insult Dog at some point. And then, another one.
I'm technically LeBron, but my voice is pitched down significantly, so it wouldn't sound like LeBron. But I would be like, "Good people of Cleveland, thank you for coming out today."
And I do old Tyrion voices. No, I know. Drink wine. I drink wine. And what's the other thing he does? Has sex with hookers or something? What's the other?
Yeah, that's. There's two things. That's his character.
I drink wine. And
big bird.
No stuff and no things. That's what it is.
Yeah, no things. Right.
And
a crow.
Yeah. And then another voice is the Hound is fun.
7 L's.
I lower it like this.
Wait a minute.
I should trade you a hot dog for one of mine.
Coming up in this episode here, you're about to see why Kyle Korver is a hawk. We've kept him a hawk for the whole show, and it's just commitment to making him the bird that fills out words.
Like as this show developed, like we were trying to reorganize the world as we were going. We were building the buses, we were driving the bus, and we just like grandfathered in some things like Kyle Korver because on the Hawks end, it's just always a hawk.
So if you watch the scene,
okay, I want to say one thing quick thing about the Nuggets here, which is a lot of people say we never feature the Nuggets. Excuse me, Nuggets alert! It's happening in this scene right here.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, go ahead.
We made Kenneth Fareed the goat herd from season 3 or something of Game of Thrones. What? Why are you complaining?
Yeah, I know. And there's Ty Lawson.
This scene is also based on the scene with Brienne of Tarth talking to Jaime Lannister. LeBron was Jaime Lannister earlier in the show.
Not interested.
And Kevin Love.
Except for that one scene where Shore Mormont.
Season to be over.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Remember?
And Iman Shumpert was.
He used to have a hair like that, but he doesn't anymore.
Chemistry.
Yeah, once he cut his hair, it just ruined his character. And he's no longer on the show.
Be a part of something special.
Mahad Alvi, he asks, by the way, this here is a really bad dick joke that we ended this on scene on.
Oh, yeah,
fun
fact.
His Harden's debut.
We originally drew Kevin Love's butt, but we were not allowed to show it. But that
that's right.
No, I don't
so if anyone wants to see the flash file with Kevin Love's butt, just DM us.
Also important.
Wasting a center
this is the reason why James Harden has a bizarre accent. It's because he's Oberyn Martell.
You know why the whole world
a lot of people tuned in like later in the show, and they're like, "Why does Harden sound like he's Mexican or Spanish?" And it's because we made him a Dornish man. And we just committed to it.
Which is based off.
And I have no regrets.
And also this scene is based on a scene in Game of Thrones where he kills 2 Lannisters or beats them up or something in the whorehouse.
Yeah. All right. So this is
want to do another question,
episode
Craig?
ever. Sure.
Let's do another question. Okay. So someone says, did you need to rewrite for Kobe's passing or COVID? So obviously with COVID, we were mindful of that. It's very, very hard for us to make last minute changes because as the show's grown, it's a really this animation style is very complicated. And so it takes a long time. And so it's very hard for us to maneuver and react to things. That's why usually our episodes are about older stories, and we can never compete with everyone trying to be super topical on the internet. So what we try to be is weirder and more creative and more thoughtful, and we do older stories. But it can be challenging when things change. If you're writing a cartoon. It's about like a team being really bad, and then all of a sudden they make a run before the playoffs. It throws off your joke. So that's a risk that we run. But as far as the Kobe thing, and we'll see some Kobe stuff. This will come up a few times, but that was really tough, obviously, for a lot of reasons. Most obviously, like, it was really sad in general. But I remember we were actually at a Game of Zones meeting. We were meeting about this last season, and we were talking about Kobe and what to do with Kobe. And then that was like an hour before, and then all of a sudden the news came in. We couldn't even believe it, and we were just like, we had to cancel them. We couldn't even think straight. We had to cancel the meeting, and we just had to figure that out. And then the leadership at Bleacher Report, they wanted us to do some sort of tribute. But the thing about our show is, like, we don't really react quickly, and we didn't want to put something out quickly. We wanted to think it through. We wanted to do something thoughtful. And so there may or may not be a tribute to Kobe in this final season, but you'll have to watch. Craig, anything to add?
All right, let's. I think
you for a long time.
You're the thing I've heard.
There's such a delay. I'm like,
That's
I apologize. Like, it's hard to bounce off.
What is this place? Where?
So this is Derek Rose is going into the lair of Guard 23, who is a mysterious person who may or may not run the Hornets.
So that I
original child of the forest,
like you once were.
I can teach
Yeah,
you
and
how to fly.
Derek Rose's knees were a big topic at the time.
Everybody. A lot of you kids don't remember, but this was the year of Derek Rose's knees, and there were a lot of these years. But that was like back before coronavirus. This is what everyone was talking about. It was like, what's going on with Derek Rose's knees? So we
this is low key one of my favorite scenes.
Just bored.
So
bored a lot too.
We made Doc Rivers Stannis natural fit because he's got Stannis is his daughter. Shireen is her name.
Hopes for you.
And we gotta make Austin Rivers her. Just the exact perfect dynamic, father daughter, father son.
Go to hell.
By the way, there is a question from Damon Conway, and he says, I wanted to ask you, the creators, if your favorite NBA joke is LeBron's tweet about Kevin Love fitting out. And I will say, Damon, no. That is not my favorite NBA joke. There's been a lot. Maybe top 75. Maybe top 75.
Yeah, I put it in my top 150.
All the jokes. I mean, like, just like, you got to think about any, like, off the top of my head, right? The whole J.R. Smith throwing soup. I mean, come on. Yeah, but it's a memory we enjoy.
So we got a question. Y'all showed the Wizards like once. That's not true. We showed the Wizards like at least twice. They had a scene in season 4. They had wizard hats. Okay, they have like the best team outfit of anyone on the show. Let's get that straight.
Yeah. By the way, we did have a scene with them. Sorry, Craig, go ahead.
Bradley Beal said stuff in the lottery episode. So what are you talking about?
Also, we had Bojan. I mixed up Bojan and Bogdan, so forgive me. But like, whichever one got traded to the Wizards, Bojan, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's like so many wings! Oh my God, it's like so many wings, so many wings!" He was eating wings in the in his Wizards hat and the Feast of the East. And I will say that there was a hot.
That's one of our most one-dimensional characters is Bojan Bogdanovic, whose only dimension is that he says things that sound like, "Oh my God, it's like so many wins."
That's all he does.
Won't be all he does.
One thing is that we were going to do a scene with the Wizards. We had it kind of mocked up, but it was too inappropriate. Where like 2 players from the Wizards like go down into a cave, and they've discovered that they used to be called the Bullets, but they don't know what bullets are in this world. So they find these guns they think are magic wands. They start going like this, and they start shooting bullets everywhere. But that was like we were encouraged not to make that episode.
They like. I think it ended with like Jonas Valanciunas was dead or something. I don't know, something like that.
It was not Jonas Valanciunas.
It was somewhat. No, Gortat. Sorry.
You're thinking of Gortat. Gortat.
Yeah, I get them confused.
This is why we don't do a basketball podcast. We don't know anything about basketball. Fun fact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Disclaimer: I know nothing about basketball. Adam knows a few things about basketball, and then people at Bleacher Report know a lot about basketball.
Yeah. Well, we know a lot now. Like I know a lot now. Like I've always been a basketball fan. I've always played games, but Craig's a little less so though.
But yeah, when we started the show, I didn't even know who Steph Curry was. And then all I knew about basketball was exactly what we had in Game of Zones episodes. And then like over the years, I've like developed a more rounded knowledge of basketball. And, I have random gaps of knowledge. So like if you just said like Stephon Marbury, I'd be like, who? But everyone else I know.
I grew up. We both grew up Sixers fans, but I was like a hardcore Sixers fan. I've always been a big NBA fan, but but there's always people who I find that like when you're in the basketball world, like it feels like everyone else knows more than you. But at this point,
we have one other question.
Okay.
Have you ever considered doing an NFL version of Game of Zones? So we had we had a scene in the original concept. It was supposed to be NFL, and we were going to do a scene with Tom Brady as Jamie Lannister and Bill Belichick as Tywin, and the linemen were horses. We never made it. Sorry.
Yeah, we never did that, and it became NBA. But now, if you want to experience animated NFL content, I recommend you check out Gridiron Heights, which is run by the incredibly talented Dennis Flynn.
All right,
let's keep
rolling.
So
you want to keep rolling the tape?
Player of the year, and you are my son.
Does this mean I get to start now?
While that's playing, I will say that I am Shane Black says, "Can you do some '90s Bull stuff?" And I will just say to that, maybe. Final season and final.
I was going to say real quick.
Oh my god! And like coordinating where they
I want to talk
were.
about the fight we had about who was going to be Drake.
Oh yeah, the Drake fight. Yeah, the great Drake fight.
Yeah, we both wanted to play Drake, and so we both recorded ourselves singing the part, and we played it anonymously for people around the office, 6 people actually, and it was a 3-3 tie. And then I just got to do it. I think it's because you got to be Lil Wayne.
No, Lil Wayne was after. This is before. The reason I let you have Drake is because I'm the older brother, and I always bully him, and so I was like trying to be nice.
Was nothing without me.
No, I guilted you into it. Okay, so this is a second piece of Rage on Rondo content. No wizards, just all Rage on Rondo and Brand. I mean, Derrick Rose. We actually have an uncensored of this, but you'll never see it.
He drops the C word a lot. Which is totally fine in Game of Thrones world, but apparently less so in sports world.
No wonder they kicked you out of
So we have a question from Josh Schaffner maybe, and he says, "Who comes up with the in-depth hidden jokes and details?" Well, Josh, thanks for noticing and thanks for watching. So we will brainstorm those with ourselves, human out to some of our experts at Bleacher Report, and we'll show them the backgrounds and say, hey, what can we squeeze here? And then and Matt Hill and Dan or whoever else, and Evan Matthews, who's in the control room somewhere, he's our producer, and we will just look carefully at the scenes. And our attitude is, why waste any background? Like, add that like make this really dense. If you guys are going to be spending your time, even if it's 5 minutes watching something, we're not going to give you crap. We're going to do our best, even if it's a silly little basketball cartoon, to make it worth your time. And so that means like we want to pack it with details and make sure that the backgrounds have fun stuff and there's like tiers of watching that you can do. So we don't want to overdo it with Easter eggs, but go ahead.
We'll go through at every phase of production. So it starts when we're writing, we think of background jokes and things. And then as we're recording it, we'll come up with new jokes. And then once we get the storyboards back, we'll find like places in the background to put it. And we just keep adding layers as it goes down the assembly line of production. And by the end, we've packed as many jokes as we can, because we know that guys, like the people that are watching on YouTube can pause the screen and they can scour the background. It's not like watching something on TV where you don't have that control, and then you can comment about it. So we started noticing people were seeing all that stuff, so we could put those fleeting details in there because it was going to get seen, rather than, assuming people were going to miss it all.
Then a couple things from YouTube here. While we can play this and go ahead. Oh, there's Kobe, our first appearance of Kobe.
This is when he tries to lure Rajon Rondo to the Lakers, which happened.
Funny enough, yeah.
Several years later.
All right, so pause it here. We got to. I want to get to some YouTube questions, but I do want to we have to preface this episode. This is the dumbest episode of.
Yeah, this is the worst.
And the reason why this is the dumbest episode is because this was made for the Warriors. This was made. Steve Kerr reached out. He was a fan and wanted us to do an episode for the Warriors for their team dinner. And so he gave us a ton of inside jokes about the team. And Steve Kerr's the nicest guy. And he was like, we were like, are you sure we can use some of this stuff? It was like, some of it was inappropriate. Like at the end, like the fact that Andre Iguodala like grabs his dick and like yells like, hold my dick or something like that when he makes a 3-pointer or something like that. And like, we're like, are you sure we can use this? That was the joke they gave him. Yeah. And so that's what this episode, spoiler, it's going to end on. But this episode is a bunch of inside jokes, and it plays. You can watch it on YouTube with the Warriors reacting to this video. You can see the whole team watching it. Steph Curry is like chewing on the napkin and laughing. It was a real and that ties into a YouTube question, which was someone asked, "What's the you've had making an episode?" And one moment I'll say, which wasn't necessarily fun, but it was like incredibly cringy and exciting, was when we got the video back of the Warriors watching this episode we're going to show you, and saw them watching us doing their voices, like us voicing them. It was really, that was crazy. That was crazy. So anything else to add, Craig?
Yeah, I will say I was really frustrated because this like completely disrupted the lore at the time, and everyone thought this was like part of the series. But it was really supposed to be its own set from the rest of Game of Zones. And I don't think people got that. So I was just trying to erase the like memory of this once we move forward after this episode. But pretty soon, like everything kind of fell apart. But all the characters got mashed up. Like they were both Daenerys, and then they were on the wall, and it was just like it killed.
This one's a mess.
Like
yeah. So let's go ahead and play this one, and then Craig, as it's playing, a couple of questions I'm gonna bring up. So one person says, how long is the process of creating an episode? So I'll let you handle that, since I don't pay attention.
Yeah. Well, I want to answer that, but I think we should answer questions maybe between episodes, and we can talk about the episodes as we're watching it.
Okay.
So yeah, this episode we he was the new guy.
Jason Thompson was the new guy.
Got him. Mauve house buckets.
And then we wanted to try to get in as many guys as we could. The Brazilian blur was the thing about Barbosa that we could make a joke about. Bogut's
this is the worst joke ever. We literally just gave him.
So we just made him say Australian things. And then assistant coach Luke did a lot of dip, with the and so don't do that, kids. That was his thing.
We get Jason a real
Cursed a lot.
We did Harrison Barnes dirty because he was always, there was a clip of him like staring at Rust Gold.
Yeah, the get what you need thing. drives me crazy. That's like the most inside jokes that no one gets except for Warriors.
Do we even get Winston in the yeah, that guy just yelled it. His name Brandon. I can't remember his name.
We won 67 games.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name.
We will win 1,000 games.
By the way,
Sean Livingston does his thing.
Those men down there.
He gives you a speech about beating their last season of 67 wins, and this was the season they had the 73 win season, or whatever it was, 72 wins.
We kind of take credit for their amazing season. There's Looney and Bab, who we did want to draw their faces, so you just see them from the back.
Warriors, we will hold this war.
And then Stick Stance, that was like really funny to the team.
This is my favorite part. Yeah, so there it is, the old Iggy Dick joke. So let's pause
go back real
Kobe.
quick. Let's go back to that final hold my dick part, and then I just want to look at the animation there, and just look how bad it is. So we add anything, they just go from all crouching to all sticking straight up. You'll see.
We will hold this title.
It's like we had no time to animate. And so right here, everyone just pops up. It's like a video game from like the 80s.
Charming. Okay, so let's pause it. Let's answer a few questions. Then we're going to do our best to get you out of here before the Jordan doc. But we're going to stop. We're going to answer some questions now. So first one here is Mahad Alvi says, how did you manage to animate the Nick Nurse reaction and add it to the Raptors episode so quickly? So that one was when it just seems so when that happened and that became a meme, and we already had the Raptors episode basically ready to go. Something like that is easier to add because it was just we already had Nick Nurse and he was already there, so we just had to give him that mouth and just cut away to him. So that was every problem is solved. Like some problems are more complicated than others. Like some things are really hard to cover, but if you can come up with a quick solution for things, and we'll talk about some of those quick solutions as we get into some later episodes. It depends on what the animation lift is, and that one was an easy one. One other question is, who thought of putting the horse does horse things in the series? So I don't remember who thought of it, but the idea was that we thought it was funny when we were parodying that scene from Monty Python.
I remember.
Okay.
So what happened was you were improvising. Adam was doing the voice of Frank Vogel, and he's like, "It's a horse," and then he kind of just like, "It does horse things," and we thought it was really funny. We kept it in the episode, and then I remember I wanted to keep referencing the horse. The difference between Adam and me stylistically is I like being self-referential to like stuff we've established earlier in the show, and Adam likes to keep doing new things. And I think they're both useful perspectives. But what I'm trying to say here is I fought to keep the horse that does horse things in. You can thank me. You're welcome. Adam gets no credit.
But fair. But now he's tied in, as you may have seen in our most recent episode, in a big way to our final season. So he's become
we chopped him into pieces.
A dear part of the lore. Yeah. And then one more question we'll do here, which is let's see. Craig, why don't you answer how long is the process of creating an episode? Because I think it's an important question.
Yeah, we get this question a lot. An episode takes so the first episode took about 2.5 weeks, which is insane. And Adam and I worked really long hours all weekend long and everything. But the episode was really simple. Now episodes take about 8 weeks because we actually we've beefed them up and we have we just make it a lot nicer. And that process takes that long because we need about 2 to 3 weeks to write and record it. And then we hand that recording off to our storyboard artists who will, we talk with them about what we want to see in the scene, and then we'll do some back and forth with them, and they'll block out all the shots, and they'll put, basically rough images of what will match the audio. So where the characters will be, what the backgrounds will look like. then the designers and the background artists start drawing all the backgrounds and the characters. And then finally the animators move all the characters around over those backgrounds. And then someone called a compositor, they put everything together and layer it all on top of each other and put special effects on. Shout out to Tom Lynch. And then we spit it out at the end and put it on YouTube and Twitter. And that's really, really simple way of explaining how it's made.
Yeah. So we'll come back with more questions after we walk you through this Kobe episode. And as we play this is when Kobe retired. Bleacher Report wanted us to do something for Kobe's retirement. And so we came up with this Purple Retirement, which is a spoof of the I think it was the Purple Wedding, which was
no. It's a spoof of the name Red Wedding, but it's actually a parody of sort of like the Joffrey scenes where it's his birthday.
But Craig, I think that the Joffrey scene is actually called the Purple Wedding because of the spoiler alert of what happens to him. For anyone who's seen Game of Thrones, they actually call it. They might actually call it. I'm not sure though.
But he got
So we did a
Very good. Very good. Off you go.
I don't think that's true. Adam is right. I'm being told Adam is right.
So one thing about this episode is this is the first episode that we had. What's that? I'm wrong or?
No, I'm wrong. I apologize.
Okay. So one thing that's interesting about this episode, this is the first episode that we had a little bit of animation help. Is we hired our first animator, Brandon Fletcher. And then we also brought in Richard Silvius, who has become an incredibly integral part of our team he did backgrounds and other things, and he does some of the wonderful background art that you see, and he gives us he a lot of those Easter eggs that someone had asked a question about before, and he's making the backgrounds. He says, hey, what if I did this, or what if I did that? In fact, one of his great ideas was to do LeBron's messed up feet in the big statue. So anyway. That's sorry, Craig. I was maybe stepping on your toes there. Speaking of LeBron's messed up feet.
Yeah. So you can see Mitch Kupchak sitting on the left there
from episode 1.
Yeah, we just
you know what?
shoehorned him in there.
Evan, make a note of Frank Kaminsky's shoes there for our special VR Kicks thing.
Oh yeah, we're trying to collect all the fire kicks that we have in the show.
Please enjoy this commemorative bubbling.
Yeah. So. Guard 23 doesn't show up to Kobe's party, and Kobe's a little hurt. And then we have Shaq, who's in this is his exact outfit from Kazam. Or Shazam. What's it called? Shazam? Can we get a fact check on that?
And do let me know.
I think it's his outfit from Blue Chips.
And now, ceremonial
Nick Young, also known as Swaggy P. This
fun fact about his voice. He is the same voice as Mark Tatum in the lottery.
Yes.
Sending do the snap recording. I'm forgetting the whole. What was the whole thing that happened?
No,
with
Nick Young.
Russell?
He recorded Nick Young talking about cheating on his girlfriend or something like that. I don't know. And and then that happened. So we're like, we got to do something to that, and we had a brainstorm. And we thought of the inappropriate Ravens. So let's pause it right here. We'll answer a couple more questions. So let's see. I want to go back because I skipped some really good questions, I think. But let's see here. So who wrote the rhymes for all the rappers? Lil Wayne, Damian Lillard, Dame Dalla, as he calls himself. So that was actually us. Craig and I, we love doing music stuff. You should check out if you've had a chance some of our music stuff we did for Bleacher Report, like the Hot Wings on Broadway, the Porzingis thing, and the Super Team Warriors musical that we did, which was the follow-up the next year we did that for the Warriors for their dinner. For the team dinner. But yeah, for all the songs, we write all the lyrics, we perform it. The only one we didn't was the Kobe Let It Tank song that we did. We hired Craig's friend to do that. Garth Taylor. Craig, is that his name?
Yeah.
But anyway, but all the Van Gundy monks, their rants. Damian Lillard. It's both of us who we take we either write the original songs or we take like versions of Game of Thrones type songs and we do it ourselves.
We got another question. It says, "What do you have any favorite deleted scenes or scenes that didn't make the show?" We have a couple deleted scenes that maybe we'll show tomorrow because they're for season 4, I believe. We had one with Mark Cuban. We'll see. We posted them on the app a while ago, and I think they're pretty good. I think we just didn't do them because we didn't have the production resources at the time. But they also,
by the
became stale.
So I know that we're running short on time, so I want to keep rolling through these. But one last question is, someone asked, Tula Vinos asked, why do some American players have foreign accents? And I'll give you our rule real quick, which is that all American players have British, like Game of Thrones accents or Irish or whatever. They they have accents from the show, with the exception of like Shaq and some other people, Barkley a little bit, who. Some people have like we love doing impressions of them. And so like they don't give that. Anyone who has an actual accent, we give them their actual accent generally speaking. So all people who speak English as their natural language, like they get a British accent or some form of Game of Thrones medieval accent. And all people who have an accent, we try and do their accent. Why? I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. It just became that.
So you'll see here that Karl Anthony Towns, and you can keep watching the episode, you don't see his mouth in that scene. That allowed us to not animate his mouth, and that saves us time. We do a lot of little tricks like that because animation takes forever.
We're the Timberwolves.
And you'll see the animation here is like a little bit better because Brandon was doing some animation instead of us.
And Wiggins. This here's Cat.
I think this is one of our better team matchups to like a Game of Thrones thing. We kept it pretty consistent. We were able to do that scene again with Damian Lillard as Thoros of Mir. The problem was that there's so many teams that don't have championships, and yet we chose a team that has one championship to be the Brotherhood without banners, and that's always bothered me.
Well, we're on our way to get
so we made the Brotherhood with one banner.
How are you now?
It was a joke there for the taking, but so many other things work so well between
just like the Trailblazers just felt like the Trailblazers just felt like the guys, and like Thoros of Mir is sort of like Dame Lillard, sort of like but like the never like the top
what is it
player, but like always kind of a cool guy hovering below.
Broken into the gates. Beasley's been posterized.
This might be my favorite joke.
Clutch.
What happened to
this little segment here?
I remember we searched Wikipedia for all the play. If there's anyone who ever played on the word the initials AF,
we need to upgrade our roster. I don't know if.
And we found one.
Problem, my lord. They
it was
left
Adama Foyle.
Let me see that.
Yes.
It allowed us to do this.
Defense is weak.
This is back when Dwight Howard was on the Rockets, and we had made him Oberyn Martell's lover, the mother of the Sand Snakes. Okay, here's where LeBron accents to Jorah Mormont.
This is where LeBron becomes Jorah. Yep.
Yes.
This is also, you can see the background suddenly got really good. And that's because it was the back.
Yeah. Offense so fast.
First time in defense. And they had the stone.
They definitely missed all that.
And this is a really people give us a lot of credit for our good calls. That was a really bad call to say that LeBron had brick scale and that he was going to start going downhill because he didn't start going downhill.
You want to pause it and see if we have any other questions, or you want to maybe? Let's see here. We've got.
So someone says, "Are you guys going to have a playlist of the first video or full episode without commentary?" So yeah, you can check all that stuff out. It's all available on YouTube. All those videos are available without us being annoying over them. but we're not going to stop. Sorry.
It's by the way, we got a fact check. It's the movie's called Shazam, not Kazam.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I forget what Kazam is.
All right. It'd be funny behind the scenes. We'll do that one next time. All right, let's go ahead and play, and then. Craig.
All right, so this is like a half episode we did. This wasn't really like a full episode. It's really short. It's just like one scene. I think let's play it. So this was.
This was to react to the big loss by the Cavs to LeBron. I'm sorry, the big defeat of the 3-1. Cavs come back to beat the Warriors.
But what's interesting is this was predicting the flight of Kevin Durant from Oklahoma
for the Cavs. I'm Kevin
to the Bay Area.
Small forward.
So he's based on Brienne of Tarth, and he's always kind of been like Brienne of Tarth.
I'm a free
but
he's
this was the year that Draymond did a bunch. This is the year that Draymond did a bunch of kicked a bunch of people in the balls.
It doesn't matter.
And so this was, and also the year that they had that epic series with the Thunder and knocked Durant out, and that was the whole time he came in to join them. And so this was Draymond getting his comeuppance.
You kicked him.
A little background detail here. I made all the little. There's all these guys in the background that are supposedly dead, but they like blink once in a while, so they're actually just sitting there, like staring at this whole scene playing out and not moving. They're not dead. You'll see Bogut. He blinks.
And also, really fun fact. So I would design all the heads, and this was the last head that I designed. Was Kevin Durant, and after that. We had artists who are much more talented than me take over, and that's why you see some incredible heads going forward.
What'd you call
Draymond and Kevin Durant were the last ones I designed.
Your duty.
Yeah. Oh man.
So Craig, you love that joke where he says duty. He says do your duty.
Oh yeah, he says do your duty in the actual scene reference. You should watch the scene that we based that on, and then watch that scene from Game of Zones, and you'll see like how closely we paralleled it. Stannis says, "Do your duty." Before he's, but at this point you gotta see the show. And so we had Draymond say, "You're a duty," and I really like that joke for people that know the scene that we were referencing. It's a pretty good one, and also people that are fans of duty jokes.
So I believe that is the last episode we're going to watch tonight. So we're going to answer a few more questions, squeeze them in before. Everyone can go off and watch the Michael Jordan documentary. So, oh my God, I'm so far down the questions here. Let's see. So we answered why he's based on Oberyn. Someone says, have you ever considered releasing that Jordan bobblehead as merch from the show? Big problem there, which is that it is Michael Jordan. So definitely not. Someone says, you mentioned some behind-the-scenes people that help you make these videos. Any funny stories while working on an episode or inside jokes that found their way to an episode? So I'll just cover that for a second, which is like NBA 1K, which is one of our most popular episodes. Craig and I don't play 2K that much. I played it a little bit. And so we brought in a couple of 2K experts, shout out Sean Mishra and Meech. And we talked to them, and they gave us tons of inside jokes, told us all about Ronnie 2K and like the servers and everything people complain about with that game. So we always make sure, like when we get like a jersey number wrong, that drives us crazy. So we really, really try, as silly as this cartoon is, to make sure we get everything right and make sure that it's like feels like the cartoon, even if we aren't fans of a team, feels like it was made by fans of a team or fans of a game or something like that. Craig, do you have a question you want to answer?
Yeah. Do we have any regrets about creating the characters, as in making some animals or some not, or anything else about creating them? That's from Damon Conway.
That's a good question.
I have no regrets about making Kyle Korver Hawk. In fact, it's one of my proudest moments. Are there any other players that are animals?
Larry Bird's ambiguously a bird, sort of.
Oh, Larry Bird, yeah. No regrets.
Yeah, he's kind of half bird.
We did make Chris Bosh a dragon.
Yeah, that's my regret.
That was a low blow.
it's not a regret, but like it's just a cheap joke, and try to like it's just a joke that he kind of looks like a dinosaur, and so like I felt like and Chris Bosh is like an awesome dude. I felt bad about that, and actually here this ties into the first question, which is one of the reasons that we want to try something new is that like we make all these jokes about like NBA players, and like they're mostly nice people, and I kind of feel bad sometimes when like it's like we think it's time maybe to do some of the original characters, so we don't have to. Craig doesn't care. All right, whatever. But I sometimes feel bad.
That we're relatively tame compared to like the actual critiques they get from like sports writers all the time. We're just giving them British accents and like making random jokes. That's true.
But sometimes I feel bad. Craig, I have one more question here. We'll do. And that is Owen Quinnen says, why are the Celtics the Spurs of the East and why are the Spurs zombies? Okay, so the Spurs were initially the White Walkers because they just felt like that team just would never die. They just always keep coming, and every year they're there, no matter how old. They just this old, boring team that just pushed forward. They just felt so perfectly matched up with the White Walkers. But then the Spurs started fading, and we saw the year before this, the Celtics got Kyrie. They started to seem like Spursy, like a bunch of like guys who played as a team and were really well coached and played selfless team basketball and were going to be there for a while. And boy, were we wrong about that because Kyrie really screwed that up. So we had to address that in that episode 7 of last season.
Why did
anything else, Craig, or should we wrap hair? Oh, was that correct?
D-Wade had blonde hair because LeBron was Jamie Lannister, and so D-Wade was Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, and you could think about that implies. Obviously, later we made it so that Anthony Davis became Cersei when they're up in the tower in season 6, but we'll get there. So anyway, guys, a couple things before we go. First of all, I want to say check out the episode. Our new season premieres Thursday at noon. We're going to be here tomorrow doing another watch party. We're going to do season 4, which is our first season with